You're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And
say
what does intersex mean?
is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex, okay? There's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a heated Senate exchange that's got people talking about biology, gender identity, and fairness in sports. Senator John Kennedy pressed a witness, Ms. Robinson, on some tough questions about sex, gender, and athletics, and the back and forth was eye-opening. I've broken it all down into 10 key points you need to know. Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button so you never miss content like this.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions, and this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
say what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex, okay? There's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive, and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as
more than five.
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying to say.
But are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are three sexes: male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders, because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl, okay? Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not.
Senator Kennedy starts by pressing Miss Robinson on whether she sees a difference between sex and gender. Robinson makes it clear, sex is biological, gender is something else entirely. She points out that sex can include male, female, and intersex, while gender is more fluid, evolving, and influenced by culture. Kennedy tries to pin down an exact number, is it 2, 5, or more? Robinson pushes back, saying gender isn't about a fixed count. She describes it as expansive, even infinite, and tied to personal identity and expression. Kennedy is visibly frustrated, but Robinson stands firm on gender being non-binary. The discussion takes a sharp turn into athletics. Kennedy asks if biological males have an advantage over females in sports. Robinson refuses to give a blanket answer, pointing out that it varies from person to person. She even brings up Serena Williams, noting that talent and performance can't always be reduced to biology alone. Kennedy isn't satisfied. He argues that refusing to acknowledge biological differences hurts Robinson's credibility. He insists biological males generally have a physical edge over females, and stresses that fairness in women's sports must be protected. At this point, he makes it clear he believes rights for biological females in competition are being overlooked. Robinson fires back, saying not all men are stronger than all women, and trans women should be allowed to compete in the gender category that matches their identity. She argues that respecting trans athletes doesn't diminish women's rights, and the conversation shouldn't ignore the reality of diversity in gender identity. This exchange shines a spotlight on one of the most controversial debates of our time, the balance between inclusion, identity, and fairness. Kennedy demands scientific clarity, while Robinson stresses evolving social understanding. The clash raises tough questions. How should sports handle gender identity? Where should the line between biology and gender expression be drawn? If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, share this video with a friend, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you're always updated on the stories shaping the conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.